Because there's been so much interest in the legal and appeal/dispute side of the procurement process, we thought it would be interesting to continue this series by looking at H&K's victory over Haenel to ultimately provide the HK416 as the standard service rifle for Germany's armed forces. Haenel and its Maschinenkarabiner, or MK556, had actually been selected, but its German rival would not accept the loss without a fight. With the Federal Court of Justice of Germany upholding H&K's patent case against Haenel in a ruling in March 2025 and the dispute seemingly being finalized, let's take a comprehensive look back at how H&K was able to overturn the Bundeswehr's original decision to buy Haenel rifles. For decades, Heckler & Koch, or H&K, was the German Armed Forces' primary assault rifle supplier, and had supplied the G36 since 1997. Prior to the G36, Germany was using the G3, which was also being produced by H&K. We won't get too deep into the G36 controversy, but doubts about the weapon arose during the deployment of German troops to Afghanistan, with reports from German soldiers that the rifle lost accuracy when overheating during prolonged firefights. As explained by Ian of Forgotten Weapons, it's common for weapons to lose accuracy when getting up to a certain heat. And so, when choosing a new weapon to replace the G36, the Bundeswehr's accuracy requirements in hot conditions were so stringent that none of the candidate rifles were able to meet those requirements. To add to the mess of the G36 situation, the German government sued Heckler & Koch, but a German court ruled in 2016 that the rifle met the technical specifications originally set by the Bundeswehr at the time of purchase, and therefore the manufacturer was not liable for the deficiencies. Nonetheless, the G36 controversy through public pressure put the German military on a steady path to finding a new standard service rifle. It's notable that Sig Sauer withdrew from the competition early, citing a lack of impartiality in the testing process. According to The National, Sig complained that the German tender was written in a way that would have been unfavorable for American-manufactured Sig 516 rifles. Rheinmetall, in collaboration with Steyr-Mannlicher, also dropped out early in the process after possibly determining that the contract was not profitable enough. The joint bid had put forward the RS-556 for consideration. And so the competition ultimately came down to two remaining bidders, H&K offering the HK416 and HK433, and CG Haenel offering the MK556, the militarized version of its civilian CR223. All rifles were fully auto-capable and chambered in 5.56 by 45mm NATO, while the HK416 and MK556 are based on the AR platform with a short-stroke gas piston system. In September 2020, the rifle from Haenel was selected by the Bundeswehr as the G36's replacement. It was said that price was a key factor, with a leaked report revealing that Haenel was to receive approximately 152 million euros, while H&K's bid was 179 million euros, a difference of 27 million. According to the German version of Business Insider, the leaked report stated, "The key criterion is the lower price, with technically comparable performance." It was also revealed that the Haenel rifle was 7% better in terms of penetration power, according to sources familiar with the matter. With this difference being negligible in practice, it's understood that the German armed forces made their decision solely based on price. Sadly, for Haenel, the decision was short-lived, as it was revoked the following month. Why? Well, most reported that it was due to a suspicion of breaches of public procurement law and concerns about alleged patent infringement, with an allegation that a feature patented by H&K was part of the MK556's design. However, as highlighted by Gunsweek.com, Heckler & Koch's complaint reportedly accused CG Haenel of winning the contract by illegal price dumping, offering a price so low that it might not cover the costs of production. Another concern raised was one of national security, as Haenel was owned by the Tawazun Holding, which is controlled by the state-owned sovereign wealth fund of the United Arab Emirates. So there doesn't really seem to be full clarity on why Haenel's win was overturned if we dig into a few different articles. However, we can say that most media sources connect the revocation to patent infringement. And so, on this front, H&K actually sued Haenel for infringement of European patent EP 2018-508B1, which protects a type of rifle locking system, specifically the openings designed for rapid water drainage from the gun. The patent names well-known weapons developer Robert Hurt from H&K as one of its 6 inventors and was filed in 2007. For its part, Haenel maintained there was no patent infringement, stating that changes to the design had already been made in 2018 following an initial complaint from H&K, and that variants of the carbine were already in service with German police units. Indeed, Haenel asserted that the Mk556 rifle, which initially won the tender, was, quote, equipped with a different recoil spring tube without holes. Reported by the website Spartanat in 2021, Haenel argued that the Mk556 was delivered to the Bundeswehr with the construction standard of the Colt M4, a standard that has existed since 1994 and used by numerous manufacturers. According to the standard, the Mk556 has no bores on the bottom of the buffer housing and uses a completely different technical solution than the relevant Heckler & Koch patent to ensure the over-the-beach capability. The litigation would run through multiple courts over several years, escalating with each round. In December 2021, the Düsseldorf Regional Court ruled that Haenel's CR223 rifle infringed H&K's patent. However, the court did not award the claim for indemnification or parts of the damages claims due to a statute of limitations defense. In June 2022, the Düsseldorf Higher Regional Court rejected Haenel's immediate appeal and confirmed that Haenel's exclusion from the assault rifle contract award procedure was lawful. A few months later, in September 2022, Germany's Federal Patent Court upheld H&K's patent after Haenel moved to have it revoked. And then, most recently, Germany's Federal Court of Justice upheld H&K's patent, effectively banning Haenel from selling its assault rifle in Germany in its original form. That should be the end of things, but the website Juve Patent reported in March 2025 that Haenel has filed an appeal to the Federal Court of Justice. We haven't had any subsequent news from there, but it's understood that Haenel's goal at this point is to be allowed to sell its assault rifle in its original version. Juve Patent actually documents the series of legal proceedings quite well, so we'll be sure to link to those reports in the video description. That's our summary of the legal challenges, but what happened to the rifle competition? Well, if you're following our channel, then you probably already know what happened. The HK416 would be selected. The German federal procurement body ultimately determined that upon recalculation, Haenel's bid was actually less economical than H&K's, and this was partly due to a discrepancy over how the two companies had priced accessory rails, as Haenel had quoted per set of 3 and H&K per individual rail. There was one other legal issue that was separate from Haenel, as there were questions as to whether or not H&K's magazine for its rifle infringed on a patent held by US magazine maker Magpul. The two companies would eventually settle, agreeing that H&K could offer and sell its self-developed magazine in the UK and EU. And then we can't conclude the video without highlighting the extremely political nature of this whole rifle selection process and the G36 controversy that started it all. On one side, DW reported in 2015 that members of the Left Party criticized the Defense Ministry for its handling of the G36 affair, with a Bundestag member going so far as to allege a corrupt relationship between regime officials and the weapons industry. And on the other side, there were a bunch of politicians bickering about how awful the G36 was, without any technical knowledge, but still having the bravado and showmanship to score hits against each other. But circling back to H&K and its fight against Haenel's win, well, as we stated in our earlier video about H&K's appeal to Swedish and Finnish courts, it makes sense why these companies providing weapons for armies would have their own armies of lawyers. It's simply big money. When a contract can bring in well over 100 million euros, a few million spent on lawyers is just the cost of doing business. But what do you think of this whole ordeal? Let us know by leaving a comment.